Hello, dear ones. Father Peter John coming to you from All Saints Orthodox Church in Bloomington, Indiana. Christ is in our midst. What does this mean to you? Or this? Well, those might be simple questions. You'd say, well, of course, I see three, I see one. One could think three, one, three persons, one God, the Holy Trinity. It seems relatively straightforward to us, but there was a time in the church when there was a great turmoil over those very signs, over those very issues, the issue of the divinity of Christ, right? Is he the only begotten Son of God, begotten of the Father before all time? Or was he the highest of all creatures, as the priest Arius taught? Well, after the Council of Nicaea, the first ecumenical council in the year 326, many people thought and hoped that those questions would be settled, but they weren't quite settled. And in that time, there was much turmoil, especially when Constantius, the son of the Emperor Constantine, who had called the First Ecumenical Council, turned out to be an Arian, one who believed that Jesus was the highest of creatures, instead of saying that, no, he is fully God of fully God, that he is the pre-eternal Word of God. So anyway, there was all this turmoil at that time. And we have a number of different saints who came out of that time really shining as examples, as theologians, as lights for the truth. And one of those I want to talk about today, we celebrate Saint Meletios of Antioch. Now, I'm not going to go through his entire life. I really just want to talk very simply about one instance with him. You see, he had been deposed from his throne as bishop during this time, this time between the first and second ecumenical councils. And at one point, there were Arians who wanted him to be the new archbishop in Antioch. They thought he was an Arian. They thought, great, we'll bring in Malitius, bring him in from Syria, and he will champion our cause. The Orthodox also, they believed he should be the Archbishop of Antioch because they believed he was Orthodox. How this confusion happened, I'm not sure, but they succeeded in getting him to be placed as officially as the Archbishop of Antioch. And what happened next was he began at one point during a homily to preach Jesus Christ as the pre-eternal Son of God, as the second member of the Holy Trinity, the Son of God. And when he did this, we would find this kind of shocking, actually. It's not normal for us in our culture, although it was more current or more common, should I say, in 4th century Middle East. His archdeacon there, who was an Arian, took his hand and placed it over the mouth of the preaching Archbishop of Antioch. Well, one can imagine any number of ways this could play out after this, right? We're all kind of shocked, and we think, what did Malitius do? What happened? Did the guards rush in and take the archdeacon off to the jail, or what happened? Well, here's what happened. Malitius, who is described as a gentle, God-fearing, joy-filled man, as the deacon covered his mouth with his hand, Malitius just very simply went like this. With those two hand gestures, he preached a piercing homily to those who were there in the cathedral church in Antioch. At this point, the archdeacon became enraged, and he grabbed the archbishop's hands so that he couldn't make hand signals, which then freed up the bishop's mouth to preach and proclaim the truth about Jesus Christ as the only begotten Son of God, begotten of the Father before all time, light of light, true God of true God, begotten, not made, of one essence with the Father, by whom all things are made. That's the Nicene Creed that he was preaching about on that very day. Well, he was deposed 2 more times for his Orthodox Christian beliefs, his Orthodox Christianity. Finally, he was restored and ended up presiding over the Second Ecumenical Council and was loved and revered by all as a holy, old bishop who stood for the truth, whether with his hand motions or with the preaching of his mouth. And by the way, he also is the one who ordained St. John Chrysostom as deacon. We all know about St. John Chrysostom. If you don't, read about him, and you'll see why I'm mentioning that as an important point of St. Malitius' life and ministry. Christ is in our midst. He is and ever shall be.